Dun 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 dun. Hey guys, Vaughn here. So today we're watching Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Joining me, as with all of the Indiana Jones films, is Michael. Go ahead and say hi, Michael.
Hello, everyone. Glad you could join us. I'm just sorry it's not everyone's favorite movie tonight. But is it really that bad? Let's find out.
Yeah. So a little bit of preamble here. If you want some quality flatware, use my promo code FRY45 at checkout at nork.net for the best fork knife combo in the universe. It's probably something Indiana Jones should be looking for in 1,000 years. Honestly, it's not cold pressed. These are forged titanium flatware. It will impress your in-laws. That's Fry45 at checkout at nork.net. Also, check the comments below. The pinned comment will have all my other special offers for you guys. If you'd like to watch Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull on Netflix with us, go ahead, queue up to 0000 and hit play now. We got the green turning what, silver then gold Lucasfilm logo, rated PG-13. But now we have the ancient Paramount logo. This might be the last movie to ever use that, as far as I know.
Okay, it looks like we're fading away here. Of all things,
Groundhog
this.
playing in brackets.
Someone told me that when it first seen this in theaters, I thought I was still watching the Kung Fu Panda trailer.
This is a movie that I saw like the day after I graduated college. I think it had been in theaters for a week or two prior, or maybe it just came out, but there was no fanfare in my town. Like, no one was talking, hey, we got to go see that.
Now we
You
keep.
know, well, what do you think of the Prairie Dog?
Uh, People complained it looked fake, but I don't know, it was passable. Now we keep
I
pointing
thought
out in
it
all.
looked pretty fake, but it actually looks better here. Do you think they touched it up?
It looked better than I remember. I was gonna say I like how all these movies they use a different font for all the credits. I think this one it looks very similar to the one they used in The Last Crusade.
I I think you're right. I know they had a different font in the first movie, which is probably the one I've been watching the most recently. But growing up, it seemed like Temple of Doom was the one that was always on cable. I don't mind this beginning of like you got it's establishing the 50s. There's uh, Cold War tension type thing, but Americana, and also a bit of a callback to what was his first, no, second movie? What was Lucas's second
Yeah,
film?
excuse me, American
American
Graffiti. We're
Graffiti.
doing this chicken race with the cars, but it's the time
Yeah,
period. We got the all these college students trying to race them.
I mean this doesn't look bad. The Prairie Dog's a bit off. Like I wonder if you could have done that practically. I feel like with the budget something has like this, you should be able to.
As always, excellent cinematography here. I mean, unfortunately, they couldn't get Douglas Slocum, who worked on the first three. He was way too old by then.
I think visually this movie looks so different than the first three. I know it's uh what, nearly 20 years after the third film, but it doesn't look that related. The colors are so different.
Nevada,
They,
1957. Okay.
they're so digitally touched up. Like there's an odd green to this movie. This is very much in the vein of Indiana Jones, though, because like these guys get murdered, but it's kind of done in an off-camera way. Maybe that makes it more acceptable. That is how you get to PG-13. You fire guns, but you don't directly see the impact of the bullets.
Yeah, less is more.
You know what's weird about this movie is the beginning of it's probably the best part. Like because you have gotten like you're answering the fanboy prayers here, taking you to the magical warehouse where the Ark of the Covenant is located.
And it's like for all that time, the Ark of the Covenant was in a warehouse just somewhere in the desert. It's like once Raiders of the Lost Ark is over, you'd think it's somewhere in Washington D.C. where the film ended. I mean, I don't know. It kind of
I
feels
didn't
like
get
they were
any impression
retconning
that
in
it
that
was
regard.
anywhere. Like I didn't think it needed to be anywhere in particular, but it just seems so weird that there. Okay, imagine each of those boxes is as awesome as the Ark of the Covenant, and you're looking for dead alien bones. Like maybe this place should have a little more security. I really hated this. What is his name? Ray Winstone. His character, he just flip flops between I'm on your side, now I'm not, now I'm on your side.
Yeah, we'll get to that. And when he says Russians, for a minute there, I thought he was going to say Russians. I hate these guys, but nah, let's not go there.
Did he say that in the TV spot or trailer?
He might have. I remember distinctly the trailer when when Mutt Williams asked him something like, you know, you're a you're a professor, and he answers part time. It was obviously a different take because
Yeah,
he said the lines so differently.
he had said it like part time, but in the movie it's like part time. Like it's almost like his voice pops like when he says it's a date. You eat them in the first film.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
like probably not the best take for the line.
Now this guy playing the Russian soldier, he's
Yeah,
obviously the muscle of this movie, filling in for Pat Roach, who passed away 4 years prior to this.
he certainly is. Kate Blanchett actually looks older in this movie than she did, like she does now. Have you seen her lately?
A couple times.
She looked younger in Thor Ragnarok. I mean, they really went out of their way to find guys that looked like 50s Russian communists. Like these guys are not passing for the American look.
Definitely. And I'm going to look carefully among the soldiers here. I think we're going to see, of all people, Ilya Volok and Andrew Divoff, both of whom also played henchmen in Air Force One.
There's another guy. Maybe he's one of those two. I see his face on occasion in stuff. I think I've seen him play a Russian guy before. Maybe he's one of the guys you're talking about. I think he might have been on Star Trek Enterprise. You know, the big complaint was everybody thought Harrison Ford was too old then, and then we wait even longer and have to see him as even older Han Solo.
Yeah,
He doesn't. You know what's weird? He doesn't look that bad right here. Like, maybe I thought he looked older at the time in a way. He looks better here than he does as Han Solo. I feel.
I agree. And it's like, for all the flack this movie gets, hey, he's back as Indiana Jones. He's playing Indiana Jones. He's still in character.
Oh,
When he comes back playing Han Solo, it's like he couldn't care less, and they kill him off.
we're
Do
getting
they kill
into
him
the
off in this movie?
wanton.
No.
No, but look at the wanton CGI here, where things that very well could have been done practically are done CGI for the hell of it. And I think that it takes me out of the movie too much because this is a franchise that's grounded in our reality. It takes place in America in the past when CGI shouldn't be as prevalent, right? And it's just so off to have a film proliferated with CGI where 3 movies before had zero. She has a sword and she's a psychic.
Got those hypnotic eyes, too.
Of course, he's like talking about the stuff in that box, but we're not going to say until it's revealed to the audience. I mean, when he says highly magnetic, this is beyond highly magnetic. This demonstration is what it, MRI. No, what is it? The you know those machines where if you park the car next to the building, the Terminator Genesis, the thing that sucked in John Connor's metalness. You know what I'm talking about?
I
Is
think
it a
so.
CAT scan or is it something else?
Yeah, my memory's fuzzy on that one.
I mean, she has a metal sword, right? Should that react?
You'd think it would.
They have guns.
Okay. So he's throwing gunpowder in the air to find where all that gunpowder is going to. What particular crate?
Such a big warehouse, no staff, just the guards in the front.
They definitely should have had tighter security in a place like this.
There has to be a gimmick to finding this thing because it has to work like a puzzle to be Indiana Jones. Harry Potter would have done the same thing. There would have been some kind of ability needed to locate the item, even when you found the building it's in. Well, here we go. And is that the same crate? Like, if you line up, does it look the same? Or is it possibly boxed a little different than the original 1981 crate?
We'll see.
Oh, actually, it doesn't need to be because it's not the Ark of the Covenant. Like, we'll see its crate at some point, right? So,
We'll very
kind
briefly
of.
see the arc. The crate is broken a bit. We just see, like an outline of it or just a corner of like the gold emblem around it. Now, is the CG in this movie really so much of an objection?
Yes, it gets to be more abused as the film goes on.
I mean, we gotta.
Actually, I said the beginning's probably the strongest, but that chase at the school, everybody seems to like that.
Well, it is the time period, the 1950s, when kind of the sci-fi, not so much a sci-fi, but aliens from other planets were sort of a thing.
I think a lot of people object to the film for dealing with aliens when uh, Indiana Jones prior exploits have a historical value, but maybe in a modern fantasy historical value, you could have aliens involved. I don't think my objection to the movie is based purely on the story.
You sure you want to cut that open? God knows what could be in there.
Or rather, the concept isn't the problem. There's a lot of plot holes and inconsistencies with the film. Like, does nothing come of this alien?
Not that I recall.
I have no idea why she's looking for it because later on she uses a different alien to try to do some hypnosis.
Okay, here's the first of quite a few occasions where we're not sure whose side Mac is on. And the big question is, why does Indiana keep trusting this guy and bringing him along?
No, yeah, that's a horrible choice. Jones should have more sense than that. Keeps calling him Jonesy, and he flips sides. I just could not wait for him to die. He should have died sooner in the movie.
I mean, look at the beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark when Baranka pulls the gun on Indiana when he's just looking at that piece of scroll by the fountain or wherever that is. He pulls the gun on him. We see Indiana Jones in silhouette. He disarms him with his whip. That's Indiana Jones. He's like, you're
He
not double
doesn't
crossing me,
then
buddy.
turn around and be like, "Okay, come along. I'm not going to leave you out here in the middle of nowhere." Right?
Yeah.
This is not a bad scene. Like, you got an actual actor swinging around. There's a vehicle. Like, this has a right vibe about it.
Okay, we had to do something to reference the truck chase. He gets in the truck, he punches out the driver, and throws them out.
CGI explosion crate, and I think we're gonna look for the arc here. And there, you fools. You have, yeah.
There it
Oh,
is.
what you've
Yep.
missed.
Hey, everybody, it's the Ark of the Covenant. Remember that?
Yeah, this is one of the first movies where it filled you with all these "Hey, remember that" type moments, which have become so commonplace now.
People for years and years ripped on the Star Wars prequels, but compared to the Disney
Well, as soon
movies,
as
at
the
least they
sequels
did
come
their own
out,
thing.
once the sequels come out, people start to appreciate the prequels.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what is under here? Like, would you have this in the same facility?
Come on. They'd have
I mean, it
serious
looked like a
injuries
simple
if
warehouse,
they
right?
survive that fall.
Oh, there's a thing about action heroes having, or in the action adventure, having to insane grip and surviving great falls. Which, if you can survive great falls, you don't really need that good a grip.
Well, the soldiers got down there and found them awful fast.
PG-13, guys.
Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting quite a bit of CGI here. But, you know, there was a plane chase where the plane ended up in a tunnel in the third movie that didn't look that realistic either.
I half expect those prairie dogs to, when they see the vehicle race by, say something like, ooh, teeny, kind of like a Jawa sound effect.
Oh, yeah.
They could have added that in just for fun. And a minute ago, when the soldiers get immolated when the engines fire up, when you think about it, these movies are crazy in their death scenes. We see people.
Yeah, there's some super violence in these, and the only one that gets the violence card is Temple of Doom.
Yeah, for obvious reasons.
Yeah, but you have faces melting and exploding in fire in the original movie. But that one, no one's complaining about the PG rating.
Mm-hmm. I mean, people get... And in The Last Crusade, someone gets ran over by the tank treads. An entire...
In a kind of comedic way, too. Like, his
Yeah.
arms and legs come flying up.
A truck
All right,
in the
we
desert gets
are,
blown to smithereens and a guy rapidly de-ages. Where's the complaint on that? Nope.
We're approaching the nuke the fridge scene, which I didn't mind so much. I'm sure you're familiar with the phrase "jump the shark,"
Yes.
and nuke the fridge has become the movie term for jump the shark as for television. So it's like, oh, when does the franchise nuke the fridge? Honestly, this is not an offensive scene here. This is kind of cool, like an interesting concept. Okay, he probably doesn't survive. It's interesting in that you have a lead line fridge. No real way to test this, but it's resourceful and it's of the time period.
Seeing it from Indiana Jones's point of view, it's being resourceful. It's like, if that could, I stress the word could, save my life, you may as well take the risk.
Yeah, I mean, if the smartest person in the world is in this situation, they would do the same thing. I mean, it shows a certain smartness for Jones. He also the panic on him, everything here. It seems very in keeping with the character. Just so happened to have some Russians here looking for him. He obviously had lost them, so. I wonder about the chimney. If you could hide in the chimney.
If the house is going to get blasted to smithereens, not sure about that. Okay.
It says lead lined, especially. I wonder if a fridge would say such. I have heard complaints that he wouldn't be able to get out. Is the complaint I've heard. Not anything about the fall.
Kaboom.
Some of that there is pretty good nuclear bomb explosion. I think we have a big issue with dust, dirt, and smoke CGI not really looking authentic to this day.
Okay, the guys in the car didn't make it, so that wouldn't have done him any good if they did pick him up.
Yeah. He was even asking for help.
Oh.
Then you have to have the prairie dog come and chastise him. There's an odd thing with animals kind of commenting on the action through this movie.
What do you think of that explosion?
Not a bad
with the
shot
cloud?
right here. That looks pretty good.
Yeah.
It's when characters are going through smoke that's CGI where CGI doesn't hold up well, in my opinion. I watched Twister recently, and that seems to have better effects than I initially thought. In most places.
Okay, now he's back in wherever the government, they're decontaminating him, kind of Dr. No style.
With those brooms, that is not going to be pleasant. On the left, we have the he's on a show called The Middle. I think he was a janitor on the show Scrubs.
I can't remember his name, but yeah, he looks familiar.
Yeah, he gets work, and he's going to be here for just a few moments. Kind of a standard bit here where the government guys show up, tell Jones what's what, and he tells them what needs to be done, and then they're never seen again. Had you seen his most recent film? Is it Call the Wild?
Saw
Where
the
he has a
trailer.
CGI dog.
Yeah, saw the trailer. Haven't seen the movie yet. Looked
We
pretty
have
good, judging by the
dogs. We can
trailer.
train dogs to do stuff. We don't need them to be CGI. This guy here, I don't remember his name, but he was on the show The OC, which was kind of a teen drama soap, primetime, 2003 on Fox. Yep, that's her. Still same haircut.
How long ago was that dossier?
She was Stalin's fair-haired girl. What does that even mean? Is it like Kick Murder Squad, an off-world colony? Oh, you want to
Nuclear
accuse
blast.
them? Huh?
What is it with people pronouncing nuclear as nuclear?
It's probably like the way Russians would say it.
Or is it just excuse me, sorry, one of those things you pronounce missile as missile?
I think I only ever hear missile in the Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon where Dr. Robotnik would say such things. And this is in the more comical Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon, not the more serious one.
Okay, and here's Jim
Back to
Broadbent,
school.
obviously filling in for Denholm Elliott.
Yeah, and boy, do they do him a disservice, decapitating his statue. Chapter 4. All right, guys. We have a strict bow tie policy at this university.
Well, a reference to Raiders of the Lost Ark. You know, Michelson, chapter 4 and 5.
Oh, is it?
Why do all the students get up and, like, they're suspicious all of a sudden? It's like, it's probably not going to be out
Uh,
for long.
I mean, would they care that much?
Obviously, they do for this movie.
Man, those suits are not making a comeback anytime soon. Is this the same house he's always had?
I would say
You never
yes, but it
get
looks different.
great looks of his house. I think it looks different too.
It's not just the suits, the colors barely match. They kind of do, but it's just, I
The
don't know.
the colors in this movie are pretty far from realistic.
I mean, I think it's the same university, same location in both Raiders and The Last Crusade. But so much of this movie, it feels like they're retconning.
What feels like the retconning?
Um, what I pointed out earlier, where the Ark of the Covenant, where the warehouse was located, it's like, where was that supposed to be all this time? Oh, it was in a desert somewhere? Um, we got to have another callback. Oh.
He doesn't have a
As
picture
we
of
pointed
a
out,
short
when
round.
yeah, as we pointed out when Last Crusade ended, they're riding off into the desert. It's like for the longest time until they decided to make one more movie, that felt like the end of the franchise. But way I hear they're planning a fifth movie.
I think it would be you start with Harrison Ford and then you cut to some other actor playing Indiana Jones young for the duration of the movie. Only way I could see them doing that. It is shocking how Disney purchases Lucasfilm, proceeds to do nothing with Indiana Jones, otherwise considered a giant property, I think, by most people's standards. Seems to buy out Lucasfilm just for Star Wars.
Uh huh. And here comes you know who, Shia LaBeouf, riding up in this motorcycle looking like Marlon Brando from what, The Wild One? I think that's the movie.
Yeah, he's looking like Marlon Brando in the Wild One. He's got the cap.
Now, another common complaint about this movie, and of course, to the Star Wars sequels, is the music just isn't as memorable. It's good, but it's just not as memorable. I mean,
I would
John
put the
Williams,
music in this over the Star Wars sequels. A lot of this sounds more uh, done for this movie. I don't know if there's new music at all in the Star Wars sequels.
Yeah, maybe a few memorable tracks. I mean,
The
John
music
Williams.
here certainly feels related, but you know what? It also doesn't age with the movie because it's 20 years newer. Maybe they should have music that sounds like what would have been in a 50s film.
Yeah, I love the guy. Great composer, a master, but he's getting up there, and well,
I
just
think
I
he's
think I
about
heard.
done because
Yeah, Rise of
Spielberg started
Skywalker. That was
doing
his last
movies with.
movie. He's pretty much retired altogether now.
Well, Spielberg's been doing movies with other composers lately. I think Alan Silvestri did something with Spielberg recently. There was The Bridge of Spies had someone other than I think that was the first time not John Williams was involved in a scoring a Spielberg film. Indiana Jones mentions about all these characters from his past whom we've never seen, and it seems like a disconnect. Oh yeah, I've got this good pal Oxley. I've got this good pal who's going to betray me. Instead, at least Marion's there to be like, hey, there's someone from the past movie still sticking around in some degree.
Well, they're talking all this stuff we don't know about, we haven't seen, but it's a scene where they're having a discussion, and I don't know. There's got to be something in for filler in between action scenes to fill for time.
These skulls make no sense. Okay, so there's legend, this old skull from some time back, controlled power stuff. I don't even understand how the civilization comes about. Like, where did they find the skull? What? So the alien died, but it didn't. Like, there is so many plot holes.
When did news of it first become a thing? Even
But why do you even need it? Because what makes that skull different than these other ones you have that also have mind control abilities? If you're, the Russians already have one, so what? Why do they need this one?
okay, he mentions a Mary Williams, but as we find out later, we know who his birth mother is.
Oh, it looks like Shai is trying to grow a mustache here.
Yeah, there's an outline of it.
I think Shia blew up too much. He was getting into franchises where he was not the draw, and maybe he felt he was, like, because there's this and Transformers. Transformers is a hit without him. Like, the humans are inconsequential to the success of a Transformers movie, or should be.
Oh, you shouldn't have drawn attention to yourself now. We got to have this thing in Indiana Jones movies where there's these henchmen or these government agents coming along and come with us.
I know Shia plays a lot with that switchblade. I guess Spielberg had given that to him and told him, here, figure out something to do with this. So he just kind of like whirled it around and practiced some moves. We're going to get our Soshin greasers going here. Would
Shake,
you
rattle,
start
and roll of all music
would the
they
fight
could
work
play.
though? They don't know him, but they align with him instantly because of what he's wearing. So they're gonna brawl it out for Mutt. I don't know. Look at the weird like the way light kind of hits all the metal through this movie. You'll see times where it just things have a beam of like shine to them and like a fuzziness. It's a bit distracting. Spielberg kind of went overboard with that at times. It's something that started cropping up in his movies and Saving Private Ryan, where it seemed like at times you had mild glaucoma from all the kind of like light bounce. I think this is all done in camera, this car bit.
Well, we know George Lucas's style, obviously. Even when he's just executive producer, it's like, okay, we got to have this chase scene in the movie somewhere.
Are Spielberg and Lucas on good terms right now?
For the most part. Sure, they have their disagreements, but I think Spielberg pretty much respects the guy and respects what he's trying to do, his wishes. But maybe he's just going along with it just to save his reputation.
There weren't a lot of Lucas films before Disney at this time. I think this comes out before the Star Wars Clone Wars movie, and then probably the last Lucas film would be Red Tails, which I don't think made its money back. We're protesting the nukes. How odd that the college would be anti-communist. Right, not going to be the case now. This just seems in poor taste here. Yeah, even Jones isn't liking it, the gag. I do like the Wipeout coming out in the library. Taking a real tour of the campus here. Now the police want to show up. Nice. Oh, you're here. I'll ask you a question.
Oh, that was fun. Let's do it again.
Now I have to wonder if this kid that he's talking to, if he's in things now, because that seems to be a thing with Spielberg films. Is like there'll be somebody somewhere in the background who's now a thing. I was watching Freddy vs. Jason about a week ago, and the most famous person in the movie is in it for about a second in the background, has no lines, and it's Evangeline Lilly, her first role. Just as an extra.
Yeah, I think the bully from A Christmas Story of all things is even in the movie.
In Freddy vs. Jason?
Yeah. I haven't seen the movie, but I think I saw his name in the cast.
Oh, it's not good. When movies are bad enough, I tend to forget about them pretty quick.
Same here.
It's a defense mechanism, so you don't have to relive bad memories. Guarded by the living dead. I don't know about that. They kind of just seem like Incan warrior types. That
happened so fast, but it looked like a page was ripped out from that book.
Man, he turned to the right page right away, didn't he? No sifting through. We have to have a red trail on a map, don't we, for Indiana Jones?
Mm-hmm. Well, they're keeping with the franchise.
Yeah, do we need to take his motorcycle along? It seems pretty impractical. Here, kid, you can park your motorcycle at my garage at my house. We were there.
And hat over eyes as he's falling asleep.
Yep, bit of a callback there too. Does he do that in each of the movies?
He does it in Raiders and Temple of Doom. I can't remember him doing it in Last Crusade. I know when he's on the plane from New York to Italy, he's reading through the diary as we're going through the map.
Hey Shia, try not to cut your hand up with this. You're gonna only have that happen to you in a car wreck soon after. Jones's shirt looks a little blue.
A little bit. I remember when going through costumes, like for the first movie, they had to get the right leather jacket, the right hat, which was new, of course, but they had to age it to make it look days, possibly years old. Just like it's the same clothing he wears every single day of his life.
I kind of think at this point they should have shown him buying a hat and jacket, so you'll know where these come from. Yep, I need another one of the usual. Oh, right, Dr. Jones. We got you.
Uh-oh. Look who's back.
Yeah, you'd almost think they had a tracking device implanted on Jones.
It feels similar to the marketplace in Raiders 2. They're wandering around and they're being watched.
Honestly, I don't even remember some of this stuff. What, this like insane prisoner asylum
Me
thing?
neither. Me neither.
Because nothing comes of it. Um, Man, this place just reeks of black mold, doesn't it? All right, we got to have some kind of puzzle room, guys. What do you got for me? Okay, so his guy Oxley was in this room etching on the walls, huh? So much skull confusion. Well, he makes references to skulls we haven't seen to know that it's not the same. So like, why would you mention it in the first place? Aha! There's got to be more clues here. Gonna get that vantage point like in the
Like
Last
in Last
Crusade,
Crusade, when
you
they're in
know?
the library, he goes up high to look down on something.
It was more effective when there was like a giant X you probably couldn't have discerned close to it.
But I wonder, could he have just looked down from where he was standing in The Last Crusade without going up the staircase? It wouldn't have been
Oh,
as visible,
certainly.
yes, but if he just backs up far enough, he'd probably see it.
I mean, it kind of makes for a cool shot to have to hurry up the staircase.
But we gotta have something so the audience can see it.
I I think some of that might be miniature. I'm not certain. This is an odd bit of the movie too because it seems like they go to sort of like this throwaway temple. Now, I think that the Incan guy whom he blows the dart back into his mouth is Kino from Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze.
Really?
I believe so. Are these the undead warriors guarding it, or just homeless guys who have nothing else to do?
Could be either.
I mean, they seem quite defeatable. It's not like they're stone warriors that I would kind of think that the undead warrior couldn't just look like a guy in a loincloth.
Hmm.
Smack.
He had the right fighting style to be. Kind of looks like him.
Now, I think that the blow dart, I don't think you can push that backwards. I think when you slide it in, there's a notch where it stops.
The poison dart would be to whoever you're blowing the dart to. Does it work backwards the
Also,
same way?
well, it shouldn't. Wouldn't it have a bunch of fur on the back, like feathers, kind of stuff to try to keep it going straight? Here we go. Part time.
Yeah, that was definitely a different take in the trailer.
Now, in the Terminator, the trailer for the Terminator, you remember when Kyle Reese goes up to the cop? He's like, "What day is it? The year? Saturday? Something like that, right?"
Yeah.
They dubbed over that cop's voice in the movie. He had a much more higher pitched voice in the
But
trailer.
but to be fair, they did the same thing in the Temple of Doom trailer with Malaram when he's all, "You
Oh,
don't
did
believe
they?
me? You will, Dr. Jones." He sounded so different there. I think that
Is he
could have
dubbed
been
over in
because,
throughout the movie?
yeah, it was a he sounded so different in the trailer versus how he did in the movie. I think in the movie that was his actual voice, but maybe it's because during time of filming that at the time the guy couldn't speak much English, so they had to dub him.
Well, most of John Connor is dubbed over afterward in Terminator 2 because Edward Furlong was going through a phase. The only time when he isn't dubbed over is when they're working on the truck together. But other things being dubbed, you got, as far as I know, Andy McDowell's voice is dubbed over, and I think her first movie, Greystroke, Legend of Tarzan, she's dubbed over by um, Glenn Close. We got CGI Scorpion there, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna CGI the bugs, things that used to. You get so much more out of real bugs, kind of giving the audience jumps, than you do this stuff. I could imagine audiences jumping in the first two Jones films over the bugs, maybe even the rats in the third one. But you're not going to get that effect out of an audience like this.
And if one of the scorpions stings him, aren't you worried you might need some anti-venom serum? I was going to say, the actor playing Malaram, I was kind of disappointed in the when they released the trilogy on DVD for the first time, the making of segment for the Temple of Doom, I was kind of disappointed they couldn't get the actor in for some interviews. I think maybe he did some foreign movies here and there, but I'd have to look up his filmography, what else he's done. Because I don't think they dubbed him for the film.
So he's going over the skulls over here are different. They bound the kid's head, the skull deforms, and to honor the gods. They kind of come up with the aliens were the gods, so there's a reasoning kind of thing. That's kind of a play on history that I think that works in some way with Indiana Jones.
Yeah. And all these cobwebs here, it does kind of sort of call back the beginning of Raiders when they're in the jungle, going through all the cobwebs, and pretty soon there's all those tarantulas.
All right, we may need a balancing act. Look at all that light coming in. Remember, it was stormy outside and it was dark. We've been crawling around in here for some time, haven't we?
Mm-hmm. Well, they're supposedly underground. Would you see all that light from outside?
I see some holes, but, still, for those holes to work, you'd have to be like less than a foot away from the surface. Not bad, kid. You know how footprints work. Harrison Ford's got to call people kid, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Han Solo does it too. Does he call anyone kid in the Jack Ryan films?
I haven't seen those in a long time.
I watched them not that long ago. It's been a few years still. And I don't think he said anything of the such.
Maybe his daughter, but I'd have to see the movies again.
Yep, still got my switchblade. This isn't right. I don't think the wrappings preserve like that. Air doesn't agree with him. I mean, if it worked like that, all the mummies they find, as soon as you unwrap them, they would look new, and then they would look the way we find them now. So I'm not so sure. I don't remember most of this. They're spending a lot more time in this offshoot temple than I recalled.
It really feels like they had to come back and make the fourth movie for the money for a lot of
Oh,
us.
this shot here looks very Indiana Jones like. The light really dipped down, and now it looks more overblown. But there's just a little slightly tighter shot. What were they looking for? Uh-oh. Aliens. The most magnetic things on Earth. I mean, he could have put that on the ground. He didn't need much to hold it, does he? All right, we found a crystal skull.
Nice glow effect.
You know, that might be a pretty obtainable movie prop because I don't think there's that much demand for Indiana Jones 4 movie props compared to the first three movies. It's like it's magnetic only if you think about it being magnetic, right? Because the guy's armor isn't clinging to it.
Hmm.
Seems very light and plastic the way he's kind of holding it to me. See all the shaking as he's talking? If it was heavy, it would be. I would think he would be holding it steadier. I mean, heck, he even had it up there on a couple of his fingers holding it up. Sometimes you see people passing around gold bricks like they're light in movies.
Oh, definitely. Gold's heavier than that, of all things.
Right, but if that was a crystal skull, it would be heavier than if it's plastic.
But he just holds it casually.
All right, we're gonna climb up now.
And now it's daytime.
I mean, I guess the undead warriors could have brought more friends to come get us, right? When we get out of the temple.
Oh, look who's back. I'm going to count how many times Mac keeps betraying Indiana. Because I long
He's
ago lost
betrayed him
count in the movie.
once right now.
Yeah,
I think
twice now.
no, because he was still an enemy when he just pulled the gun on him. He hadn't flipped sides. He will flip and then flip back. No, actually, hold on. Does he flip two more times or just once to be like good?
No, there's definitely a couple more times coming up.
This scene makes no sense. She's going to use the skull to do mind things, but they would have had to have already done this with a previous skull somewhere because that's how Oxley gets messed up or is tortured.
It's coming.
Not only money. Gigantic pile of money. Oh, yes, the best kind of piles. I need you guys in the background to dance the most Russian type style dance you can think of. Go. Would it be within the bounds of reason that a woman would be in charge of this operation in the 50s?
Hmm. I would say yes.
I know the Russians had female snipers in World War II, whereas America wouldn't. It's possible there might have been a little bit more of a progressive outlook for women empowerment in Russia. Who made it then? I don't. Did someone make the skull? Isn't it just an alien's head? That's their bones. Their bones are crystal, so it's not a made thing. Because the thing comes alive at the end, in a. That's another deal. Is like they don't seem to know what to do with aliens in this movie. They make aliens magical instead of scientific. Alright, so we're going to play around with this one. The skeleton's pure crystal. Okay, we got it. Distant cousin. We're going to set up camp in the middle of the forest. We want this restraint chair brought with us for reasons, you know?
We need reinforcements. We're not getting much answers from Indiana.
Oh, this John Hurt's appearance here is just cartoonish. I seems kind of out of
Definitely.
place and nonsensical. Of real, actually little help.
But John Hurt's definitely no stranger to aliens.
Yeah, you know how I killed him, right? You heard that story?
Mm-hmm. Vaguely.
Yeah, I came home one day and from the gym. Well, I was thinking of this movie Paris, Texas, and I come home and I see my parents. I'm like, John Hurt dies tonight. Wake up the next day, see John Hurt trending on Twitter. I'm like, yes, I predicted it. I got him. And then I see the picture, and I was thinking of Harry Dean Stanton, the second victim in Aliens, not John Hurt, the first movie in Aliens. So I was thinking of Harry Dean Stanton, and I got John Hurt by mistake.
And they also
Look at
kind of
this chair
parody.
he's in. His chair has all these wheels and gears. Like,
Oh, that light's
I
got to
mean,
be
it's a lot of
blinding.
trouble to move stuff into the Amazon, isn't it? It's like you're setting up a dental office. Okay, which skull is this? This is the one Oxley found, right? They still
Yeah.
have the one in the distant cousin alien that for some reason doesn't have powers, but they needed to find because it's available at the beginning. So doing this completely wrecks Oxley, but Harrison Ford gets away from it because he's Indiana Jones and the other guy isn't. Look at how messed that screen is with lens flare.
It's just the lighting.
I guess J.J. Abrams ever ready to copy Steven Spielberg is just like, oh, his movies have some lens flare. I need more of that. Okay,
Henry. Oh, yeah,
is
because remember that? His real name,
is
Henry Jones
that
Jr.
Would you consider him undoing the straps, flipping sides? Because that would be his second flip if we're gonna count that. I need a giant case for my swords. You heard him. Go ahead and kill him. This seems pretty random that she's on hand.
Oh, and look who's also back.
Oh, we're gonna have a nice little moment here. No, Mom. Ooh, yeah, the twist.
But it is nice to see Karen Allen again, I will admit that.
I don't think she'd been working, and I don't think she's been working since. I can't think of anything she'd been in anywhere around this time.
The Perfect Storm, maybe? That's the only thing I can think of.
Was she in that? I thought that was Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio.
Yeah.
Was she
Mary
in it
Elizabeth
too?
was in that too. Karen Allen was in it. A lot of people were in that, come to think of it. It had quite a cast.
Yeah, but there weren't that many women because there was a bunch of guys on a boat. Unless she was somebody's wife
Yeah,
or
I think.
mom at the
Yeah, I think she was
port.
Bob Gunton's wife or girlfriend.
All right, now I have to cryptically say things because we have to make this into a puzzle.
Abner's little girl. Oh yeah, because again, we got to reference the other movies.
We never do meet Abner. We don't know who he would have been played by. Um, maybe he'll come up in the next one in a past Indiana Jones adventure.
Yeah, maybe they'll show him in flashback.
So easy to draw when you're not looking. Um, that doesn't look like the same thing he was drawing. Just the previous shot.
No.
So how did this crystal skull affect him so badly? Because he didn't have the Russian to interrogate him with it. Cryptic directions in an Indiana Jones movie, of course. They make a half-assed escape here that I think goes the Gilligan's Island approach with the quicksand and grab onto the snake. The kind of thing that probably could have been left out of the movie.
It could have been, but you have to have something to remind the audience of Indiana and his fear of snakes. So we figure we may as well do it in a semi comical way for this movie.
Oh no. I don't think quicksand actually works the way it does in movies. Like, it's like walking through a swamp, just about. Like, it's not something you stand on and then you fall in too late. Like, you would know as you're stepping into it. It's like a sand filled swamp. But though filled, loosely filled. But oh, yeah, get something to pull. The way to get out of this, you're supposed to lean forward, like face down, try to get as much of your body on to increase the surface area, distribute the weight. When you're standing, your feet have less surface area, so you sink in. You don't know how deep it's gonna go. Like, it's possible that they could be at as deep as it is.
Oh, and we gotta have this. Oh, there's something I never got to tell you just before they sink, or are about to sink. I know you probably didn't see the movie, but they do that again in The Rise of Skywalker.
Oh Jesus! I haven't
I,
seen that movie. Don't tell me who's whose kid, but I don't even that that sounds even worse. Like, I
it
don't even
is.
don't bring it up anymore because that movie. Okay, you're saying there's some retconning here.
Uh
That
huh.
each movie in the sequels is retconning the previous movie for the hell of it. Like, they had no idea what direction they were going with those.
You did
Oh
not
my
miss a thing
god!
not seeing episode 9. I'm telling you now, skip it.
I mean,
Just watch the originals instead.
Christ's sake, that's even worse. I've heard about Palpatine coming back, and that seems like total nonsense. But now you saying that? Oh my god. That's an actual snake.
Uh huh.
And it's gonna not be when he starts pulling on it.
Grab the rope.
Yep, here's your rope right here.
Oh, come on, that would tear the snake in half.
Yeah, probably.
And it just slithers away when he throws it
Dude, if I'm a
aside.
snake that size, I am fighting back.
Same here.
That is easily the biggest snake in
I
an
would
Indiana
fight back
Jones
being
film.
picked up. Oh, I got you help.
Oh, super impractical deforestation machine here. Like,
I'm just gonna say this. This is gonna be the last thing I say. I will rewatch Indiana Jones 4 over the Star Wars sequels any day. For all the flack this movie gets, at least Harrison Ford is back as Indiana Jones, being Indiana Jones.
this is probably my third time seeing this movie. I I can't see a scenario where I'm watching more of the Star Wars sequels. My dad was a war hero, not a school teacher. Colin Williams? You? Oh my god. This guy has to, like, bear witness to the family counseling. I'm really struggling to see what Oxley's relationship is in all this because it's not her dad. So, like, how's he involved? Oh, he's a close friend also. I've had enough. We're tying her up. And that's not the first time they've tied her up. Uh, trying to get her to stop talking.
Mm-hmm. In the tent in Raiders.
Man, this pocket knife is getting a lot of screen time.
What was that rip?
Yeah, that rip has bothered me from the beginning. Like, what do you do? Rip his pants? I would take Marion over. Uh, Man, I forget with the man name. What was the entertainer from Temple of Doom?
Willie Scott.
Yeah, Willie. Oh my God.
Okay, now we have to have something to outdo the truck chase in Raiders. Or be similar, at least. But at least it kinda gets good. We got a good chase scene, good action scene.
I wouldn't use the term
Kinda.
good. Like,
That's why I stress the word kinda.
there's certainly things happening. There's an imagination to it, but it might be all ill applied. Man, that cut up the hood so bad. You would think that would have damaged the engine and just they would have came to a stop. I guess if it was any lower, it would have. Yep. Okay. Stating the obvious. We know who that is. I think that's amphibious craft they have there. Those uh, the Jeep that Oxley's in looks like it's a boat too. Yeah.
Well, we have to have something like the previous movies where the villain sees him coming and is all, Jones! All sorts of visual callbacks.
Okay, what's he holding? Is Oxley holding a skull and she was holding a skull? Did she hand it to him? Are they both holding skulls?
I think it is the skull.
She was holding one when she was like staring down their vehicle, but I don't know why she would have given it to Oxley to hold on to. Jonesy, hey, I'm on your side now. Definitely a flip. Doesn't he have like a throwaway line here? I just so happen to have taken some fencing classes.
Yeah, I think so.
I think a lot of this would have looked better if the movie just had different color correction to it.
So much of this movie looks kind of out of place from the first three. Is it? I think one particular reviewer said of this movie, it's not a bad movie, it's just a bad Indiana Jones movie. I think that sums it up the best.
Yeah, I think if this was a national treasure, it would have been, oh hey, it's another national treasure. But it kind of besmirches the Indiana Jones franchise to include something lesser. This looks pretty fake. Yeah, but there's certainly parts here where it appears as though they're riding around in a jungle, and I can't imagine them even going to that much effort now. Just a little over 10 years later, they wouldn't have gone into anything like a set. They would okay, so this is going to be CGI through and through.
It's kind of like the minecart chase too. They're on one track, the enemy's on the other track. At one point, they try to pull short
How
round
much
in,
cooler would this have been if it looked like the chase in the Return of the Jedi? You know?
like the speeder bike chase.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been a sight to see. Ow, ow,
Yeah,
ow.
taking the ball shots from the the what ferns.
They're even staying upright while they're trying to
Uh,
have their sword
yeah.
duel.
Huh? Oh yeah, I need to stab you. Now I remember. Oh shit. Well, don't crack the skull, dude. It's crystal, not diamond. Oh, she's roughing up shy. She got a little bit of judo chop in there. That was a heck of a kick. I don't think Kate Blanchett could pull off that move. That was like some kind of Jet Li front over your head kick. Haha, I've got the goods, Jones. Got that smirk. Oh, this is an even more comical turn here. This goes too far. We've got Pompadour Monkey, who relates to him because of haircut, summoning his fellow monkey friends to aid these people and not the Russians. The cliffside there doesn't look awful, but this bit, whoa. This is like Cats.
I haven't seen Cats.
I've only seen the promotional material, and it looks kind of a similar vein.
And way I hear, I'm not missing much.
And that guy's lucky he got off there instead of later. This looks so bad with there's so much artificial light put in that makes things look fuzzy. How on earth can he swing vines quick enough to catch up with vehicles? Now, of course, that monkey lands safely. You don't want those harmed. Is this where we get the ants?
It's coming. That's what I was wondering. What's the big phobia scene going to be this time?
That would have killed every one of them. There, goodness, there's no way those tires are not crushing skulls, rolling right over the top of them.
It's like, okay, we had Snakes and Raiders, we had Bugs and Temple
That
of Doom,
there
we
is
had
no
Rats and
way
Last
ants are
Crusade.
that big.
Huh, what's next?
I mean, I've heard of these ants making a tear through the jungle and stuff, but they're not 3 inches long. Speaks Russian in the subtitles. They say ants won't cross a line of chalk. If you have an ant problem, draw a line of chalk around your house, and that'll get rid of the ants.
Hmm.
I guess you're supposed to put chalk around your windows. That's supposed to help. There's always a guy who has to fight Indiana Jones. Like he's the big goon, right? But
Yeah.
he's always doing it in a super dangerous situation where it would have been better to just go somewhere else or resume the fight later or let him walk.
But like I said before, the soldier, he's basically filling in for Pat Roach. He's the muscle of the movie.
Okay, so Oxley has a skull too, but I swear they had to go get another skull from the lady, and Mutt was yelling about how he had a skull.
And the skull is the ant repellent. They're all walking around
Yeah,
it.
because that's how magnets work, right? Magnets repel ants too, while attracting metal.
Uh,
She is so industrious and max dexterity, all these skills. It seems silly the way she gets taken out. Like, look how massively resourceful she is. She's got a vine right there. She's going to avoid the ants. Oh, crafty ants. That log kind of blowing up as he hit the guy over the head. Didn't he hit somebody with something previously, like a torch that kind of like went up? It didn't catch the guy on fire, just kind of poofed.
kind of. Oh, he's done
Man,
for.
the CGI ants don't look that bad. It's the body getting carried away that's kind of got the mummy Scorpion King type vibes about it. Oh no, they're taking off with the hat. Now, okay,
How
so
tough do you? How tough do
suppose
you have
Indiana
to be for
Jones.
Indiana Jones to survive? Put up all these fistfights he gets in.
Well, and he's got all these other adventures we haven't seen. So imagine all the other times he's getting punched, right? But he always has the same hat, right? He has to get the hat back. But there are definitely times where he loses his jacket. And then I guess he just has to get another one.
Okay.
I thought this was particularly bad. The like
Max in the car with them. Why are they taking him along?
that tree jump move, I think that's actually worse than nuke the fridge.
It's referencing the 3 times it drops.
She like looks over a cliff for like a second and is like, "Oh, there's something for me to land on down there. This is the plan." And then I also hate these waterfalls. It's just so redundant going through this 3 times. Yeah, each one's going to be bigger than the last, but so what? I mean, okay, you jump out of the airplane in Temple of Doom, and then you have to go down the mountain. It's not like you jump out of the airplane 3 times in a row. So at least that movie, it you have a different obstacle as it leads to it. Everybody stays inside, even the catatonic guy. They don't have to fish anyone out. Okay, it looks like Mutt had to climb back in. What are their... Okay, so Harrison Ford going into waterfalls. He does that in The Fugitive too, right? This has got to be worse than that. Not a broken bone. That doesn't seem that shallow or that deep, really. It's a...
Good upper tracking shot, though.
We just had 5 people survive an impossible fall. Oh, there's a skull.
Did the Mythbusters test that? Because I think you said something about they tested the jump out of the airplane on the raft. That didn't work. I don't know.
They
It
have tested
might.
something like that. I don't think they've looked at much in this movie. They tested cutting the creature from Han Solo cuts open the creature and hides Luke Skywalker in it to keep him warm. They tested that, and I guess it makes a difference. This coming up here, I find to be a lot of nonsense. These guards who evidently walled themselves up, waiting for somebody to come by.
For God knows how long.
Just absolute nonsense. However, we do have a franchise here where a knight has sat in a room forever because he found the Holy Grail.
With the knight, it was believable because supposedly drinking from the Grail kept him alive for so long.
I wasn't sure how frequent one needs to partake in the drinking from the Grail and with which water. Because uh, Henry drank from it and he's dead now.
How many drinks did it take? Like, one adds how many more years to your life? There was a lot of guesswork on that.
John Hurt handled that crystal skull like it did not weigh jack. Do you think there could have been a better title for this movie? Does it seem like the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, or I've jokingly people have called like Indiana Jones and the Saucer People.
Hmm. It's okay. Just kind of a long title, but it would be Indiana Jones and the something.
Doesn't spend a lot of time in the kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Spends much more time in the Temple of Doom.
Which kind of brings to mind, too, now they're calling Raiders of the Lost Ark Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark just to capitalize the trilogy or the four-part films or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, they
It's like, is it
reverse
still.
nomenclature it, huh?
I
Oh,
mean, it's
here's our
still kind of
guys.
officially just Raiders of the Lost Ark, not Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. There's still. I don't know, it's whichever
Well,
way you look at it.
there are those people who say Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope.
When originally it was just straight up Star Wars. Okay, here they come. How long were they hiding in
What?
there? Just
Whose
waiting for
plan was that? Who are we
whoever to come
blaming for that?
along.
Lucas or Spielberg?
Could have been anybody.
Oh, come on! I fought
Could have
these
been the
guys
same guy.
earlier.
Because I think I saw David Koep's name in the writing credits, who also did the Jurassic Park movies. The first movie still holds up, but
Oh
the
no,
sequels,
we've gotten
debatable.
snared or something. They got the bolos around the leg, trip everybody up. I hate this Jonesy yelling. That skull is some Deus Ex Machina right there. Like whatever the situation, it gets you out of it. Ah, the tracking device is. So is this indicative of? I keep forgetting the guy's name. Him selling out Dr. Jones again.
Yes.
Mac, yeah,
Yeah, because he's dropping the tracking devices right there. Oh, no, 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 it's coming.
yeah. So
I
that's
might have
a
just missed it.
that would be flipping again, is what that would be. That's a one, two. I would say the third time, and he'll flip again by the end.
But also, as you keep pointing out, with Han Solo or Indiana Jones, it's who can you trust? There's always going to be some character. Oh, is he selling me out? Lando Calrissian? Is
Well,
Sala
Han Solo
gonna
didn't put up with
sell him
much
off?
nonsense. He
Yeah,
takes out Greedo before he can shoot at him. That's the way I remember it, right?
yeah. And with Lando Calrissian, we're not sure once Empire Strikes Back is over, but he joins the fight in Return of the Jedi.
You figured this out in your cell, didn't you, Professor? Yeah, that's how things get figured out. This is kind of cool. I like the how this sand thing works. Though it kind of makes reusing this temple a pain.
It also feels kind of too like a video game level or cutscene. Like you figure out all these clues to get to the next checkpoint where you need to be.
Look at all that fuzziness on them against the sky. It makes the scene look so fake. I don't think that you can make booby traps anywhere near the sophistication found in the Indiana Jones movies without machinery, without a source of power. But according to the ancient people of anywhere, there's always some kind of mechanism. Man, that is some dangerous steps right there. You got to bound from each step.
I played Jak and Daxter, the Precursor Legacy. They have something similar, except in that game you have to go upward while the steps are retracting into the wall.
I would find it easier to ascend steps like that than to descend them.
Same here.
Remember he said hold this earlier, so here's something for you to hold. Another dead guy in armor.
And to interrupt the kiss.
Ah, he's figuring out how to do the puzzles. He definitely is my son. Otherwise, who is he to say? You can always find a torch in any kind of temple. And I think that they last way longer in movies than they would in reality. Yep, there's the tracking device. He's not really dropping enough Reese's Pieces for them to suitably find them. Also, I guess the Russians just wiped out all of the guards right there. Off camera, just gunned them down with no blood.
Mm-hmm.
They are
Less is
undead
more.
warriors. Now that's more like it, eh? It has somehow gathered all of these treasures in time periods that would suggest that maybe this temple isn't as old as one would have been led to believe, possibly.
This looks like something out of National Treasure.
Yeah, the treasure collected together, very first National Treasure.
Or possibly Lara Croft Tomb Raider.
I haven't seen Lara Croft Tomb Raider in a while. I've seen only bits and pieces of the second one, but that first movie was one of the better video game based films. It also had Daniel Craig before anybody knew him domestically. All right, Mac, you got your gold. You happy? All right, it all comes down to this, Ox. Don't know what good putting the skull here is going to do without the rest of the skeleton, but we'll give it a shot. It's almost like a retinal scan without any eyes.
Huh. Figures out all the ways to open these doors.
Now, how does one skull go missing compared to all these others?
Yeah, so many questions.
This must be the place. Look how unnaturally golden everybody's skin tone is. It's not a tan, but like just oddly lacking in paleness in a way. I think that it makes the film look so different than the others. You know, Indiana Jones says that they're aliens from another dimension. What tips him off that they're from another dimension? Can't they just be outer space? Because when I think of aliens, I'm thinking, okay, outer space would be the destination.
Yeah, same here.
I think that they had trouble figuring out how to wrap up this movie. So that all of a sudden, the aliens just get all these powers.
It's an entertaining movie, but it just feels like, was it really necessary? 3 movies was all we needed.
No one was really clamoring for a fourth Indiana Jones. And here we go. Yeah, now that skull's returned, immortality activated. I guess. I really hate these cryptic characters. You'll see it sometimes where it's like in Stranger Things, the girl has all these powers, so she can't be bothered to speak English to anybody and explain things outright. You'll see that happen a lot. It's like there's always some kind of savant kid with powers who can't. He's so sophisticated, he can't communicate. And you have a bit of that here with the Oxley character, where he can't straightforward tell you anything. Even though we were led to believe this guy spoke English most of his life. Now, of course, the trap here for Kate Blanchett, she wants all the knowledge, and it's like, yeah, of course, there's going to be some kind of devious, evil genie type thing about that.
And I'll leave it up for fans to decide. Does this rip off Raiders, where they open the Ark and the face melting? It is kind of similar.
Well, it is a similar death because it's like, okay, the villain got what they wanted, and then it kills them. What Indiana Jones, like, no, you don't want that. Come on, get out of there. Nope, this isn't what you want. Oh, yes, it is, and then death. This buffoon here, oh my gosh,
What was the point of this character even?
he made it so far to the end, inexplicably.
There's no reason in the world for Indy to keep taking him with him and keep trusting him. Well, that was this whole thing along. He was
Interdimensional
greedy.
beings. How? And what tips off the interdimension part? Nothing.
I think that was something George Lucas said to Steven Spielberg. No, these aren't aliens. These are interdimensional beings. Spielberg kind of objected to the idea of having aliens.
I have to wonder if people in the 50s understood the concept of portal and dimension. You have the Twilight Zone, another dimension of sight and sound, all that, right? Were portals a thing? Now look, we don't know if they're dying or not, but they could be going to a place where oxygen is not being breathed. All right, I want all the knowledge. Tell me. And the alien gives her like this evil grin, like, "Ha! I'll show you. I'll teach you guys to return my skull." Yeah. Mac the greedy buffoon gets his comeuppance in such a outdated trope type manner.
Yeah, a little too much CGI for my taste here.
I'm trying to remember exactly how she goes down because I don't think she explodes, but I think she gets a little melty.
Her eyes immolate and she just
Don't
gets
worry,
sucked
Jonesy,
away.
I'm going to be all right. I mean, for all we know, maybe he just transports somewhere and he becomes the new king of wherever he's ending up. What's she asking to be covered? She cover it. What's it?
You're taking your sweet time, Indiana. I'd
Oh,
be
she's
running. Get out of
too
there.
much knowledge. There's the evil grin. Oh yeah, she. Oh yeah, that's dead. That's not being transported.
I think I missed it somewhere in the movie. A character says, I've got a bad feeling about this. Okay, that line only works in Star Wars. Leave it out of Indiana Jones, alright?
I don't think I heard a. I don't think I saw that. I've got the subtitles on. I don't think I came across that.
I'm pretty sure someone says it somewhere. Maybe I just blinked and missed it.
Maybe they say it in another Indiana Jones.
No, it's certainly not in the first three. Okay, if you've got enough water gushing in, that could lift you upward.
Well,
This I can kind of
I
believe.
have to wonder. I mean,
But can you swim? Can you propel yourself above
can
water
you
to
stay
go?
above it to
Yeah,
not sink?
that's the question.
A lot of water activity
Ooh.
with water gushing in Jones films, like Temple of Doom. He has to outrun the water.
If the current is strong enough, maybe it would push you upward.
This scene looks pretty bad. That whirling debris. Yeah, let's take that view in, guys.
It also feels kind of like in Last Crusade.
And there's our
Dr. Elsa
flying
Schneider
saucer.
was greedy, and
Yeah,
her greed just overcame her.
and that's kind of the way both Mac and Kate Blanchett go down. Though I guess the point could be made Mac might still be alive. For all intents and purposes, he's not with us anymore. So I don't think you need two characters getting the same consequences, like the same lesson. Don't be greedy. Okay, we got it.
Uh,
And the saucer just kind of left. Like we just don't see it going off in the sky, but like a broom to their footprints.
and all the water rushing in, and everything looks, I don't know, so much more peaceful.
They didn't go to space. They went to the space between spaces. Oh yeah.
Where was
I've
this
seen a
film
few
this
movies
part
where
even?
the temple or whatever the activity takes place in, it ends up getting covered in water, and it's like erases the history of it. There was a movie called Castle of Cagliostro. It's an anime from 1979. The DVD box has a blurb from Steven Spielberg saying one of the greatest adventures ever made. And so I picked it up on DVD, and it was pretty good. Supposedly, that was a falsified blurb. But seeing the conclusion of this movie, it seems kind of related to that film. And Castle of Cagliostro is on Netflix if you want to check it out. It's pretty good. The first film from Hayao Miyazaki, who's well known for anime stuff. Castle in the Sky. The one that what like 2002 or three, he won the Oscar for animated film. Spirited Away, which I didn't really like a whole lot, but would you rather the movie end here than go to a wedding?
It could have ended here. The wedding was okay, but like, do we really want Indiana Jones married?
You know,
He
it's
gets a
odd
different girl in
because
all the
the
movies.
first film has like an ending coda type scene with him leaving the building and they're talking, and then you see the packing up of the ark, right? But then after
Mm-hmm.
that, they don't do it. It's kind of like there's a ride off into a sunset. There's kind of like okay, we made it back to the village, but we're not hanging out with Willie in America or nothing after the fact. Quaint little ceremony. Okay. Look at. Do you have glaucoma looking at this? Like all this light bouncing off everyone. Oh, he's not catatonic anymore. It must be side effect of returning the skull.
Got himself cleaned up. Shaved, too.
Man, is that the oldest wedding ever? There is not a young person in sight. Like, who's going to
Mm.
dance at the reception? There is no one for Mutt. Mutt should have got a girl during the movie at some point. That probably
Yeah.
would have been better than Indy getting a girl.
Ooh, nice looking hat.
I think people like him yanking the hat from him. Like it ain't over yet,
Uh-uh.
kid. Maybe someday.
No, no, you don't. That's mine. And bye-bye. Credits in. Uh, I
Yeah.
don't know. It's
Okay,
it's an
guys.
okay movie. I mean, I don't think it's good. I don't think it's bad. I have no feelings for it either way. It is what it is. I can go back and rewatch it, but it just doesn't hold up the same way the first three do for me.
I think it's bad, but but watching it again, there are maybe areas where it's stronger than I had maybe initially thought. Some of these effects have look better than I recall. I wouldn't say aged right is the way to go about this, but in comparison to how things are being done now, it could possibly look worse if done today with even more CGI. Quite possibly. I see a Sasha Spielberg in the credits there. Somebody somewhere probably in the cafe. Interesting. So you're kind of indifferent on it. I thought it was pretty bad. Uh, but it's not like a lot of things coming out today are good. So what are
Yeah.
you gonna do, right? Well, guys, till next time. Anything else you want to say?
Not much. Thank you for joining us, everyone, and keep loving movies.